Today, I want to talk to you about something that can change your life if you truly understand it. It's not over until you win. Life will hit you hard. It will knock you down. But I'm here to tell you that the fight is not finished. The story is not complete, and your destiny is still in your hands. You see, the moment you quit, you lose. But until you quit, there's always a chance to win. Winning isn't about talent alone. It's about persistence, resilience, and refusing to let temporary failure define your ultimate outcome. Every successful person you admire, every legend in history went through moments where it seemed impossible, moments when everyone else doubted them. But they didn't stop, and neither should you. You might be tired. You might feel like giving up. You might feel like the world is against you. But let me tell you something. It's not over until you win. Every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Every obstacle you overcome builds your strength. Every failure is a lesson pushing you closer to victory. See, life doesn't reward the person who gives up. It rewards the person who keeps going, even when it hurts, even when it's inconvenient, even when the odds are stacked against them. You have to embrace the grind. You have to fall in love with the process, because winning is not a one-time event. It's a series of consistent, relentless efforts. So I challenge you today. Don't focus on how many times you've been knocked down. Focus on how many times you can get back up. Don't focus on the setbacks. Focus on the comeback. Remember, it's not over until you win. And if you keep going, if you stay committed, if you refuse to quit, you will cross the finish line. Listen to me very carefully. I need you to understand something. Never quitting is not just an option. It is a necessity if you want to achieve anything meaningful in life. I don't care where you are right now. I don't care how tired you are. I don't care how many people told you that you couldn't do it. The moment you quit, that's the moment you lose. That's the moment you give up on your dream. That's the moment you allow someone else's opinion, circumstances, or temporary setbacks to dictate your life. But the moment you refuse to quit, the moment you decide that failure is not final, the moment you commit to keep moving forward, no matter what, that is when you start winning. And I want you to feel that right now. I want you to feel the fire inside of you that refuses to be extinguished. I want you to understand that no matter how hard life hits you, no matter how many times you get knocked down, you are not finished until you win. Let me tell you something about life. Life is not fair. Life is not going to give you a medal just for showing up. Life is not going to wait for you to be ready. Life is going to challenge you, test you, push you to your limits, and try to break you. And here's the truth. If you quit the moment it gets hard, if you quit the moment you feel tired, if you quit the moment you see someone else succeeding faster than you, you are going to stay stuck. You are going to stay in the same place. You are going to remain in that position where you know you could have been so much more, but you allow fear, doubt, and discomfort to take over. But when you make the decision to never quit, when you make the commitment to rise every single time you fall, that's when the game changes. That's when life starts bending in your favor. That's when doors start opening that you never thought were possible. I want you to understand that quitting is the easy way out. Anyone can quit. Anyone can give up when things get tough. Anyone can say, I'll try tomorrow, and then never show up. And then never show up. But it takes real strength, real courage, and real commitment to say, I'm not stopping. I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep going no matter what. Think about every successful person you admire. I'm talking about the legends, the icons, the people who changed the world. None of them got there by quitting. None of them stopped when the odds were against them. None of them said, it's too hard. They kept going, they kept going, they kept pushing, they kept showing up. And that is exactly what you have to do if you want to achieve greatness. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but I've tried so many times. I failed over and over. I feel like giving up. Listen to me. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Failure is proof that you are trying. Failure is proof that you are alive, that you are moving forward, that you are in the arena battling for your dreams. If you quit every time you fail, you will never know how close you were to winning. Some of the most successful people in the world were one step away from quitting when their biggest breakthroughs happened. One step away. And if they had quit, the world would have missed out on their greatness. Don't let that be you. Don't let that be you. Don't let that be your story. You have to fight through it. You have to dig deep. You have to find that inner strength and say, oh, no matter what, I am not quitting. I am not stopping. I am not finished yet. I want you to think about your goals for a second. Whatever it is you are trying to achieve. Maybe it's a career. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's financial freedom. Maybe it's personal growth. It's not going to happen overnight. You are going to face obstacles. You are going to face setbacks. You are going to face days where you question yourself, days where you feel like you can't go on. But here's the truth. Those days are exactly why you have to refuse to quit. Those days are the proving grounds. Those days are the moments that separate the ones who achieve from the ones who give up. And I promise you, the person who refuses to quit, the person who keeps showing up, the person who keeps fighting is the person who eventually wins. It may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, but it will happen if you stay committed. Let me break it down for you even further. Quitting is a choice. It's a decision you make. And every time you choose not to quit, every time you choose to keep going, you are rewiring your mind. You are building resilience. You are creating momentum. Momentum is what carries you through the tough times. Momentum is what allows you to wake up one more day, to take one more step, to do one more thing when your body and your mind are telling you to stop. And here's the thing. Momentum compounds. The longer you refuse to quit, the stronger you get. The longer you keep pushing, the closer you get to your breakthrough. So understand this. Quitting steals your momentum. Quitting steals your progress. Quitting steals your dream. But refusing to quit, committing to fight, committing to rise, committing to push forward is the only way to achieve what most people only dream about. I also want to talk to you about the people around you. You might have people who are telling you to give up. People who say, this is too hard. You're not going to make it. Why don't you just quit? Those voices are everywhere. The world is full of naysayers, but here's the key. Their opinions do not define your potential. Their doubts do not dictate your future. Only you have the power to decide if you are going to quit or not. Only you have the power to get up one more time, to push a little harder, to fight a little longer. And the more you choose not to quit, the more you show yourself in the world that you are unstoppable, that you are relentless, that nothing can stand in your way. Now, I know some of you are thinking about the pain you are in right now. Maybe it's physical pain, maybe it's emotional pain, maybe it's financial struggles, maybe you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. It's hard. Life is hard. But let me ask you this. Do you want your life to be dictated by pain, or do you want your pain to become your power? Every time you refuse to quit, every time you push through the struggle, every time you take one more step despite the pain, you are transforming your struggle into strength. You are turning obstacles into opportunities. You are turning setbacks into comebacks. That is the essence of never quitting. That is the essence of resilience. That is the essence of winning. I also want you to understand that the road to success is not a straight line. It is full of twists, turns, dead ends, and unexpected challenges. And sometimes the path seems impossible. Sometimes you feel like you are going in circles. But here's the truth. The path doesn't matter as long as you refuse to quit. As long as you keep moving, as long as you keep showing up, as long as you keep fighting, you will eventually reach your destination. You may not know how or when, but the universe rewards persistence. The universe rewards those who refuse to give up. And you have to be that person who refuses to quit, no matter what. Let me give you a real life example. There are countless stories of people who were on the brink of quitting but refused. People who faced rejection after rejection, failure after failure, disappointment after disappointment, but they kept going. J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, was rejected by 12 publishers before her book was finally accepted. Imagine if she had quit after the first rejection. Imagine if she had given up after the 10th. The world would never have experienced the magic of Harry Potter. That's what never quitting looks like. That's what refusing to give up looks like. And that is exactly what I want you to embrace in your life. Now, I want you to hear this loud and clear. Never quitting is a lifestyle. It's not just something you do when it's convenient. It's not something you do when you feel like it. It's a mindset, a decision, a way of living. It's waking up every day. It's waking up every day and saying, I'm not stopping. I'm not quitting. I'm going to keep going no matter what. It's about discipline. It's about commitment. It's about refusing to let temporary discomfort determine your ultimate destiny. And the more you live like this, the more unstoppable you become. I know some of you are thinking about giving up right now. I know some of you are thinking about quitting because it's too hard, because it's too painful, because it feels impossible. But I want you to look inside yourself and find that fire. I want you to find that reason why you started in the first place. I want you to remember that your dreams are bigger than your fear. Your goals are stronger than your excuses. And your potential is limitless if you refuse to quit. Every time you get knocked down, every time life tries to take you out, every time you face disappointment, I want you to remember this. Quitting's not an option. Not ever. Your story is not finished. Your journey is not over. Your dreams are still alive. And as long as you keep fighting, as long as you keep showing up, as long as you refuse to quit, you are moving closer and closer to victory. And I promise you, the moment you decide that quitting is not an option, the moment you embrace the grind, the moment you fall in love with the process, your life will change forever. So stand up, shake off the doubts, shake off the fear, shake off the pain, and say it with me, I will never quit. I will keep going. I will fight until I win. I am unstoppable. I am relentless. I'm a champion. And that, my friends, is what it means to never quit. That is what it means to refuse to let anything or anyone stop you. That is what it means to live a life of purpose, passion, and persistence. So get up, keep moving, keep fighting, keep believing, and never ever quit, because it's not over until you win. Listen to me carefully. I need you to understand something right now. Failure is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher. Too many people in this world are terrified of failure. They run from it. They hide from it. They avoid it at all costs. And because of that, they never reach their true potential. They never experience the greatness that is waiting for them on the other side of struggle. But I want you to understand something very clearly. Embracing failure is one of the most powerful things you can do if you want to succeed. You see, failure is not a sign that you are weak. Failure is not a sign that you are incapable. Failure is not a sign that you are done. Failure is simply evidence that you are trying. And if you are trying, that means you are alive. That means you are moving forward. That means you are in the arena fighting for something bigger than yourself. Let me tell you the truth about life. Life is going to test you. Life is going to challenge you. Life is going to put obstacles in your path, throw curveballs, and try to see if you really have what it takes. And if you are afraid of failure, if you are unwilling to make mistakes, if you are unwilling to get your hands dirty, you will never win. You will never reach your dreams. You will never experience the life you are capable of living. But the moment you embrace failure, the moment you understand that failure is not the opposite of success, but a part of it, the moment you learn to use failure as fuel, that is when the game changes. That is when you start growing. That is when you start winning. I want you to think about this for a second. Every successful person you admire, every entrepreneur, every athlete, every artist, every leader has failed more times than most people can count. They failed, they stumbled, they fell, and they were knocked down again and again. But the difference between them and everyone else is that they didn't let failure define them. They didn't let failure stop them. They embraced it. They studied it. They learned from it. They used it as a stepping stone towards something greater. And that is exactly what you have to do if you want to achieve anything meaningful in your life. Failure is not permanent unless you make it permanent. Failure only becomes permanent if you allow it to defeat you, if you allow it to make you quit, if you allow it to convince you that you are not capable. But here's the truth. Failure is temporary. Failure is a moment. Failure is an event, not a person. And every time you fail, every time you stumble, every time you fall, you have the opportunity to rise stronger, wiser, and more prepared than before. That is the power of embracing failure. That is the power of refusing to run from your mistakes. That is the power of turning every setback into a comeback. I know some of you are thinking, oh, but failure is embarrassing. Failure makes me look weak. Failure makes me look like I'm not good enough. Listen to me carefully. Nobody cares about your failures as much as you do. People are not paying attention to your mistakes the way you are. And even if they are, the people who matter, the people who are destined to support you, the people who are meant to see your greatness, they understand that failure is part of the journey. They understand that failure is not the end. It is a necessary part of growth. And the sooner you stop being afraid of it, the sooner you will be able to take the risks necessary to achieve your dreams. Let me break it down for you even further. Failure is feedback. Every time you fail, you are being given valuable information about what doesn't work, about what needs to change, about what you can improve. Failure is a mirror. It reflects back to you what is holding you back, what you need to fix, what you need to adjust. And if you embrace it, if you study it, if you allow yourself to learn from it, failure becomes a tool that propels you forward, a tool that shapes you, a tool that prepares you for the victory that is waiting for you. But if you run from failure, if you avoid it, if you deny, you are denying yourself growth. You are denying yourself progress. You are denying yourself greatness. I want you to think about the most successful people in history. People like Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before he invented the light bulb. People like Michael Jordan, who was cut from his high school basketball team and faced countless losses before becoming a legend. People like Oprah Winfrey, who was told she was unfit for television but went on to build an empire. Do you think that got there by being afraid of failure? No, they got there because they embraced it. They got there because they refused to let mistakes, setbacks, and disappointments define them. They got there because they understood that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of it. And that is exactly what I want you to understand today. I know some of you are scared right now. You are afraid of failing. You are afraid of making mistakes. You are afraid of looking foolish. But let me tell you something. Fear is natural. Fear is human. Fear is what keeps you from reaching your potential. But courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite fear. And the only way to cultivate that courage is to embrace failure, to fail forward, to see every setback as an opportunity to learn, grow, and come back stronger. Embracing failure also teaches you resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back after setbacks. Resilience is what separates those who achieve from those who quit. And you cannot build resilience without experiencing failure. You cannot learn to handle disappointment without facing it head on. You cannot develop mental toughness without struggling through challenges. And the more you embrace failure, the more resilient you become, the more prepared you are for the battles that life will inevitably throw your way. Now I want to talk about mindset. The way you think about failure will determine your outcome. If you see failure as something to be feared, avoided, or hidden, it will hold you back. But if you see failure as a necessary part of the journey, as a teacher, as feedback, as fuel, then it will propel you forward. Your mindset is the lens through which you see the world. Change your lens and you change your life. Stop looking at failure as a dead end and start looking at it as a stepping stone toward your dream. Start looking at it as a challenge that is meant to make you stronger, smarter, and more capable. I want you to hear this loud and clear. Embracing failure is not easy. It is not comfortable. It is not convenient. It requires humility, courage, and determination. It requires you to admit when you are wrong, to accept your mistakes, to take responsibility for your actions. But that is exactly why it is so powerful, because most people will run from failure. Most people will avoid discomfort. Most people will choose the easy path. But when you embrace failure, when you learn from it, when you allow it to guide you, you are doing something extraordinary. You are putting yourself ahead of the pack. You are building a mindset that will carry you through the toughest challenges. You are developing the habits, the skills, and the character necessary to achieve greatness. I want you to think about your own life for a moment. How many opportunities have you missed because you were afraid to fail? How many times have you held back because you didn't want to make a mistake? How many times have you doubted yourself because you were worried about what others would think? I want you to realize right now that fear of failure is one of the biggest obstacles standing between you and your dreams. And the only way to overcome it is to embrace it, to face it, to use it as a stepping stone instead of a roadblock. I also want you to understand that failure is universal. Everyone fails. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone faces setbacks. There is no one in this world who has achieved anything without encountering failure along the way. And the sooner you accept that fact, the sooner you can stop being afraid and start taking action. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting until you feel ready. Stop waiting until everything is perfect, because the truth is you will never be ready. The perfect moment will never come. The only way to move forward is to embrace failure, to fail forward, to learn and to keep going. Let me give you a challenge today. I want you to start seeing failure differently. I want you to start welcoming it. I want you to start asking yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How can I grow from this? How can I use this to become stronger? Stop letting failure discourage you. Stop letting it define you. Start letting it guide you, teach you, and shape you into the person you are meant to be. Because the reality is this: failure is not your enemy. Failure is your ally. Failure is your ticket to greatness. And the sooner you embrace it, the sooner you will achieve the success you have been dreaming of. So I want you to make a promise to yourself today. Promise that you will embrace failure. Promise that you will stop running from mistakes. Promise that you will take risks, knowing that setbacks are part of the process. Promise that you will fail forward, learn, grow, and keep moving. Promise that you will not let fear, embarrassment, or doubt hold you back. Promise that you will see failure as a teacher, as fuel, as a stepping stone toward your dream. And if you keep that promise, I guarantee you, you will see results. I guarantee you, you will experience growth. I guarantee you, you will achieve things that most people only dream about. And so I want you to remember this: embrace failure. Don't fear it. Don't avoid it. Don't run from it. Fail forward. Learn, grow, rise stronger every single time. Let failure shape you into the person you were always meant to be. Let failure be the fire that ignites your passion, determination, and resilience. Because when you embrace failure, when you see it for what it truly is, when you allow it to teach you and guide you, there is nothing in this world that can stop you. Nothing. No obstacle, no setback, no challenge, no person, no circumstance can hold you back. Not when you understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It is the pathway to it. So stand up, own your failures, learn from your mistakes, use them to fuel your journey, and move forward with courage, with determination, and with the unshakable belief that every failure is just one step closer to the victory that is waiting for you. Embrace failure, because your greatness depends on it. Listen to me carefully, because what I'm about to say could change your life if you take it to heart. Persistence will always beat talent when talent does not persist. You hear me? Talent alone will never take you to the level you're meant to reach. Talent alone will never guarantee success. Talent alone will never carry you through the hard times. Talent is nothing without effort. Talent is nothing without discipline. Talent is nothing without persistence. You can be the most talented person in the world, but if you give up when it gets hard, if you stop showing up, if you quit when failure knocks at your door, your talent will mean nothing. But the person who persists, the person who refuses to quit, the person who keeps going when everyone else has stopped, that person will win. That person will rise. That person will achieve greatness. Let me break it down for you. Most people think that talent is the key to success. Most people look at someone who is exceptional at what they do and assume that it came easy for them. Most people assume that they were born special, that they were born gifted, that they were born to succeed without effort. And that is a lie. That is a myth. The truth is, talent may open a door, but persistence is what keeps it open. Talent may give you a head start, but persistence is what carries you across the finish line. Talent may give you potential, but persistence is what transforms that potential into results. I want you to understand something very clearly. Talent can get you noticed. Talent can give you opportunities, but talent cannot overcome inconsistency. Talent cannot overcome excuses. Talent cannot overcome fear. Talent cannot overcome laziness. Talent cannot overcome a lack of discipline. But persistence can. Persistence will carry you when talent fails. Persistence will lift you when talent is not enough. Persistence will take you further than talent ever could, because persistence is about refusing to stop, refusing to quit, refusing to give in to the pressures, the doubts, and the challenges that life throws at you. Think about the people who you admire. The people who have achieved legendary status in their fields. I'm talking about athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders, inventors, innovators. None of them got there by relying solely on talent. Sure, talent helped, but it was persistence, relentless persistence, that set them apart. Michael Jordan, widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time, was cut from his high school basketball team. He did not quit. He practiced harder than anyone else. He showed up every day, he worked on his skills, he learned from his mistakes, and he persisted. That is why we remember him as a legend, not because he was naturally gifted. Serena Williams, one of the greatest tennis players of all time, didn't win her titles because of her talent alone. She trained, she persisted. She pushed through pain, she pushed through setbacks, she pushed through losses, and that persistence made her unstoppable. The lesson here is clear. Persistence beats talent every single time when talent does not persist. I want you to think about your own life for a second. How many times have you relied on talent, natural ability, or raw intelligence only to realize that it wasn't enough? How many times have you been frustrated because you didn't see immediate results? How many times have you felt like quitting because your talent alone was not getting you what you wanted? I want you to understand this. Talent is not enough. Persistence is what counts. It is what will carry you through the late nights, the early mornings, the rejections, the failures, the challenges, the obstacles, and the doubts. Persistence, what will make you unstoppable when everything else is working against you. Let me make this very practical for you. Every day you are presented with a choice. You can rely on talent, hope for things to go your way, and wait for success to fall into your lap. Or you can persist, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, even when it feels like nothing is working. You can show up every single day. You can put in the work. You can grind. You can fight. You can push, and you can refuse to quit. That is the choice that separates the winners from the rest of the world. That is the choice that will define your legacy. That is the choice that will make your dreams a reality. I also want you to understand something crucial. Persistence is not just about working hard. It is about working smart. It is about being consistent. It is about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It is about putting in the effort when no one is watching. It is about committing to the process and trusting that the results will come. Persistence is not glamorous. It is not exciting. It is not exciting. It is not easy. It is tedious. It is challenging. It is uncomfortable. But that is exactly why it works. That is exactly why the people who persist rise above the rest. That is exactly why persistence will always beat talent when talent does not persist. I know some of you are thinking, oh, but I'm not as talented as other people. I don't have natural ability like they do. I don't have what it takes. Let me tell you something. You don't need to be more talented. You need to be more persistent. You need to show up when others don't. You need to keep going when others quit. You need to put in the work every day, even when it's hard. Even when it feels impossible, even when no one believes in you. That is how you win. That is how you achieve greatness. That is how you become unstoppable. Let me share another truth with you. Talent can make you arrogant. Talent can make you complacent. Talent can make you lazy. And talent can make you feel like you don't have to work as hard as everyone else. But persistence humbles you. Persistence teaches you discipline. Persistence teaches you patience. Persistence teaches you grit. Persistence teaches you that success is not about being the smartest or the most talented. It's about being the one who refuses to stop, the one who refuses to quit, the one who refuses to give in to challenges or obstacles. Persistence will take you places talent never could because it is relentless, it is consistent, and it cannot be stopped. I want you to think about the long road ahead of you. I want you to think about your goals, your dreams, your ambitions. I want you to think about the obstacles that you will face, the doubts that will try to pull you back, the setbacks that will try to discourage you, the failures that will try to convince you to quit. I want you to understand this. Talent will not save you in those moments. Talent will not get you through the hard times. Talent will not push you to keep going when you feel like giving up. Persistence will. Persistence is what will carry you forward. Persistence is what will allow you to rise when you fall. Persistence is what will allow you to achieve what most people only dream about. Think about history. Think about the inventors, the pioneers, the entrepreneurs who changed the world, they did not rely solely on talent. They persisted. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before he perfected the light bulb. He didn't quit. He didn't rely on talent alone. He persisted. Steve Jobs faced countless setbacks, failures, and rejections before building Apple into a global empire. He didn't rely on talent alone. He persisted. Oprah Winfrey's poverty, rejection, and discrimination, but she persisted. She refused to give up. She refused to quit. And that persistence made her one of the most influential people in the world. Every great success story has persistence written all over it. I want you to take a moment and reflect on yourself. Are you persisting? Are you showing up consistently? Are you putting in the work every day, even when it feels hard? Are you refusing to quit when others might? Because that is the difference between those who dream and those who achieve. That is the difference between those who settle for mediocrity and those who reach excellence. That is the difference between talent alone and persistence over talent. I know some of you are waiting for things to be perfect. You are waiting for the right moment. You are waiting until you feel ready. You are waiting until the stars align. Let me tell you something. That moment will never come. Success does not wait for perfection. Success does not wait for readiness. Success comes to those who persist. Success comes to those who refuse to stop. Success comes to those who show up consistently, work hard every day, and refuse to give up no matter what. That is how you beat talent when talent does not persist. So I want you to make a commitment today. I want you to make a decision that no matter how hard it gets, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many times you fail, no matter how many people doubt you, you will persist. You will keep going. You will keep fighting. You will keep putting in the work. You will not let talent alone dictate your outcome. You will not rely on luck or timing or circumstances. You will rely on persistence. You will rely on persistence. You will rely on your own relentless determination. And if you do that, I promise you, nothing in this world can stop you. Nothing. No obstacle, no setback, no challenge, no failure. No person can hold you back if you persist. I want you to understand something important. Persistence is not just about working hard once in a while. Persistence is about showing up every single day, consistently, without excuses. Persistence is about commitment to the process, commitment to your goals, and commitment to yourself. It's about waking up when you are tired. It's about working when no one is watching. It's about practicing when it is inconvenient. It is about learning, growing, improving, and refusing to quit until you reach the finish line. That is what persistence is. That is what separates the winners from the rest. Let me leave you with this final thought. Talent may give you potential, but persistence gives you results. Talent may get you noticed, but persistence gets you remembered. Talent may start the journey, but persistence finishes it. And so if you want to achieve greatness, if you want to reach your dreams, if you want to live a life of purpose, impact, and success, remember this: persistence over talent. Show up, keep going, refuse to quit, and the world will have no choice but to notice you. Listen to me very carefully, because this is something that will change the way you approach your goals and your life. Focus on the process, not the outcome. I need you to understand something very clearly. Success is not a single event. Success is not a trophy, a paycheck, or a title. Success is the result of consistent action day in and day out. And the only way to achieve it is to fall in love with the process. If you are only focused on the end result, if you are only chasing the reward, you are going to miss the point. You are going to get frustrated. You are going to feel defeated. You are going to give up before you ever reach your full potential. But when you focus on the process, when you commit to the work, when you embrace the journey, that is when the transformation happens. That is when your dreams start to become a reality. Let me break it down for you. Most people are obsessed with the outcome. They wake up every day thinking about the destination. They want the promotion, the car, the money, the fame, the recognition. But they hate the work it takes to get there. They want the result, but they don't want to put in the effort, the time, the discipline, the patience. And because of that, most people never achieve their goals. They get frustrated, discouraged, and distracted. They quit because they aren't seeing results. They fail because they aren't focused on the process. But the truth is, the process is where the growth happens. The process is where you build the skill, the character, the habits, and the mindset that make the results possible. I want you to think about an athlete for a moment. You see the athlete winning the championship, hitting the game-winning shot, or breaking records. You see the glory. You see the moment everyone celebrates. But you don't see the thousands of hours of practice, the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices, the sweat, the pain, and the discipline that went into getting there. That is the process. That's what creates the result. The same goes for entrepreneurs, leaders, artists, students, anyone chasing a dream. The process is what shapes you. The process is what prepares you. The process is what makes you capable of achieving something extraordinary. And if you fall in love with the process, if you commit to it, if you focus on it, the results will come naturally. I know some of you are frustrated because you aren't seeing immediate success. You are frustrated because you are putting in the work, but it feels like nothing is happening. You are frustrated because everyone else seems to be ahead of you. Listen to me carefully. That is normal. That is part of the process. You cannot rush growth. You cannot speed up transformation. You cannot force results. What you can do is focus on showing up every day, doing the work, improving, learning, growing, and trusting that your efforts will compound over time. The moment you fall in love with the process, the moment you commit to it, the moment you embrace the journey, you will start to see progress. And that progress, no matter how small, will eventually lead to the breakthrough you are looking for. Let me give you a practical example. Let's say you are trying to get in shape. Most people focus on the scale, on the number, on the instant result. They want to see immediate change. And when they don't see it, they quit. But the real transformation happens when you focus on the process. Showing up for your workouts, eating the right foods, getting enough rest, improving a little every day, and committing to the journey even when it is hard. If you focus on the process, the results will come. The process is your foundation. The process is your engine. The process is what makes the outcome possible. And this applies to every area of your life, career, relationships, business, personal growth. I want you to understand something very important. Focusing on the process also protects you from discouragement. When you are obsessed with the outcome, you are vulnerable to disappointment. You are vulnerable to frustration. You are vulnerable to giving up. But when you focus on the process, you shift your attention to what you can control. Your effort, your discipline, your consistency, your mindset. You stop worrying about what hasn't happened yet and start putting your energy into what you can do right now. That is where your power lies. That is where your control lies. That is where your progress lies. Think about the greatest achievers in the world. They didn't wake up one day and magically achieve their dreams. They didn't get lucky. They didn't rely solely on talent. They focused on the process. They committed to the daily grind. They embraced the journey. They learned, improved, and persisted every single day. And over time, their commitment to the process produced extraordinary results. That is why focusing on the process is so powerful. It builds habit. It builds discipline. It builds resilience. It builds resilience. It makes you unstoppable. I know some of you are thinking, but I want to see results now. I want to achieve my goals immediately. Listen to me. There is no shortcut. There is no hack. There is no secret formula. The only way to achieve lasting success is to embrace the process. Show up consistently. Do the work. Commit to your growth. Improve every day. And trust that your efforts will compound over time. The people who win are not always the most talented. They are the ones who commit to the process day in and day out, when no one is watching, when it's inconvenient, when it's hard, and when it feels like nothing is happening. That is what separates the winners from the rest. I also want you to understand that focusing on the process builds character. When you fall in love with the process, you develop patience, humility, discipline, and resilience. You learn to value growth over instant gratification. You learn to embrace challenges as opportunities to improve. You learn to keep going when it's hard. And that is what life rewards. Life rewards the person who is committed to the journey, who is obsessed with improvement, who focuses on what they can control, and who refuses to be distracted by the things they cannot. Let me give you another example. Think about an artist or a musician. They don't focus solely on the fame or the recognition. They focus on creating, practicing, improving, experimenting, and honing their craft every single day. They embrace the process, and the results come as a natural consequence. The same is true for business owners, writers, leaders, and students. Focusing on the process allows you to fall in love with the journey and develop the skills necessary for long-term success. Without that focus, you are vulnerable to frustration, distraction, and quitting. I want you to hear this loud and clear. The process where greatness is built. The results are simply a byproduct. Stop obsessing over the outcome. Stop worrying about how fast you achieve your goals. Stop comparing yourself to others. Focus on the work, the effort, the discipline, the consistency, the improvement. Focus on what you can control, not what you cannot. And over time, your commitment to the process will produce results beyond your imagination. I know some of you are thinking about giving up because it feels like nothing is happening. Let me tell you something. Every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Every action you take, no matter how mundane, is building momentum. Every effort, every practice, every sacrifice, every moment you stay committed to the process is compounding, even if you cannot see it yet. That's why focusing on the process is so powerful. It keeps you moving forward. It keeps you disciplined. It keeps you growing. And it ultimately leads to victory. Let me also tell you this. Focusing on the process reduces fear. When you are obsessed with the outcome, fear can paralyze you. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of making mistakes, fear of rejection. But when you focus on the process, fear loses its power. You are concentrating on what you can do, on what is in your control, on the effort you put in every single day. You are not worrying about the result. You are focusing on the work. And that is where freedom lies. That is where confidence is built. That is where greatness is achieved. I want you to make a commitment today. I want you to make a decision to stop chasing results and start falling in love with the process. Commit to showing up every day, putting in the work, learning, growing, improving, and trusting that your efforts will produce extraordinary results over time. Commit to patience, commit to discipline, commit to consistency, commit to excellence in the little things, because the little things add up. The small, consistent actions compound into massive results. And the people who master the process are the ones who win in the long run. I know it's not easy. The process is often boring. The process is often challenging. The process is often lonely. But that is why most people fail. That is why most people quit. That's why most people never reach their full potential. They are focused on the result, and they are not willing to put in the work day after day, month after month, year after year. But the person who focuses on the process, who commits to the journey, who keeps showing up even when it's hard, even when it feels slow, even when no one is watching, that person is unstoppable. That person will achieve greatness. That person will reach their dreams. So I want you to remember this. Focus on the process, not the outcome. Commit to the work. Commit to improvement. Commit to consistency. Commit to showing up even when it's hard. Commit to learning, growing, and trusting the journey. Because when you do that, results will follow naturally. Success will come naturally, and your life will be transformed in ways you never thought possible. Fall in love with the process. Embrace the journey. Commit to the work. Show up consistently. Improve every day. And trust me, the results will take care of themselves. That is the secret to achieving greatness. That is the secret to living a life of purpose, impact, and success. Focus on the process, and the world will have no choice but to recognize your greatness. Listen to me very carefully, because this is something too many people fail to understand. Discipline will carry you farther than motivation ever will. I need you to get this into your mind and into your heart. Motivation is temporary. Motivation comes and goes. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. Some days you wake up motivated, some days you don't. Some days you feel like giving your best, some days you don't. But discipline is permanent. Discipline is consistent. Discipline does not wait for inspiration. Discipline does not depend on how you feel. Discipline is what gets you up when motivation fades. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward when the excitement is gone. And if you want to achieve anything meaningful in your life, you have to learn to rely on discipline over motivation. Most people think that motivation is enough. They think that if they just feel like it, if they are inspired enough, they will achieve their goals. And when that feeling disappears, when that burst of excitement runs out, they quit. They stop showing up. They stop working. They stop pushing. They blame circumstances. They blame luck. They blame life. But here's the truth. Motivation alone will never make you great. Motivation is like fire. It can start the engine. It can light the spark, but it cannot sustain the journey. Discipline is the engine itself. Discipline is what drives you day after day, year after year, through the ups and downs, through the pain, through the struggle. Discipline is what separates the winners from the rest of the world. Let me break it down for you. Motivation is fickle. It depends on how you feel, on external circumstances, on what's happening around you. Some days you will feel motivated, some days you won't. And when motivation disappears, what are you left with? If you don't have discipline, you have nothing. The discipline, you have nothing, but discipline is not dependent on feeling. Discipline is a choice. Discipline is a habit. Discipline is a commitment to yourself and your goals, regardless of how you feel. And that is exactly why discipline is more powerful than motivation. Think about the people who achieve extraordinary success. The athletes, the entrepreneurs, the leaders, the artists, none of them rely on motivation alone. Sure, they get inspired sometimes. Sure, they feel excitement and passion, but those feelings come and go. What keeps them showing up day after day, grinding, working, pushing through setbacks, pushing through pain, pushing through failure, is discipline. Michael Jordan didn't rely on motivation to practice every day, to push past fatigue, to keep perfecting his craft. Serena Williams didn't rely on motivation to train in the early mornings and late nights. Oprah Winfrey didn't rely on motivation to face rejection, criticism, and obstacles. They relied on discipline. And that is exactly what you need to do. I want you to understand this. Discipline is not easy. Discipline is uncomfortable. Discipline is inconvenient. Discipline asks you to do the work when you don't feel like it, when no one is watching, when it's hard, when it would be easier to quit. Discipline asks you to stay committed to your goals, even when life gets in the way, even when setbacks happen, even when progress seems slow. That is why most people never succeed. That is why most people give up. They wait for motivation to carry them. They wait for feelings to push them. And when those feelings disappear, they quit. But if you develop discipline, if you build habits, if you commit to showing up consistently, no matter what, nothing can stop you. Let me make it practical for you. Discipline is waking up early even when you are tired. Discipline is doing your homework, your practice, your work, even when it's inconvenient. Discipline is pushing yourself to keep going, even when it hurts. Discipline is staying consistent, even when no one notices. Discipline is putting in the effort every single day, not just when you feel like it. Motivation will get you started, but discipline is what will take you all the way. And the more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes. The more you rely on it, the more unstoppable you become. I know some of you are thinking, I just need to feel inspired. I just need to get motivated. Listen to me. Inspiration is fleeting. Inspiration is temporary. Inspiration will not push you through the pain, the struggle, the rejection, the failures. Inspiration will not get you out of bed at 5 a.m. when your body is aching. Inspiration will not make you put in the work on the days when it feels impossible. Discipline will. Discipline is reliable. Discipline is consistent. Discipline is permanent. That is why if you want to achieve greatness, you must commit to discipline over motivation. Let me give you another truth. Discipline creates freedom. People think discipline is restrictive, that it limits them, that it is something they must suffer through. But the opposite is true. Discipline gives you control over your life. Discipline gives you power over your actions. Discipline allows you to make progress toward your goals every single day, even when circumstances are tough. Discipline builds habits that compound over time and create momentum that nothing can stop. Discipline frees you from relying on luck, circumstances, or fleeting feelings. Discipline gives you the consistency to achieve results, and that is freedom. Think about history. Think about Thomas Edison. He didn't rely on motivation to invent the light bulb. He failed thousands of times, but he persisted because he was disciplined. Think about Elon Musk. He didn't rely on motivation to work 100-hour weeks, face criticism, and take risks that most people will run from. He relied on discipline. Think about Serena Williams, Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, the list goes on. Their success was not the result of motivation alone. It was the result of discipline. And that is the lesson I want you to take home today. Discipline will carry you farther than motivation ever will. I also want you to understand that discipline builds character. Discipline teaches you patience, resilience, and self-control. Discipline teaches you to prioritize long-term goals over short-term comfort. Discipline teaches you to stay committed, even when it is hard, even when no one is watching, even when it feels inconvenient. Motivation can excite you, but discipline molds you into a person capable of achieving extraordinary results. Without discipline, motivation is nothing. Without discipline, talent is wasted. Without discipline, dreams remain dreams. I know some of you are struggling with consistency. You start strong, but then you fade. You get motivated, you get inspired, but then life happens and you quit. Listen to me carefully. That is why discipline is so important. Discipline keeps you showing up when motivation fades. Discipline keeps you working when inspiration disappears. Discipline keeps you improving when no one is noticing. And the more disciplined you become, the less you rely on motivation at all. You develop habits that carry you forward automatically. You develop momentum that cannot be stopped. And that is how greatness is achieved. I want you to take a moment and think about your life. Where have you relied on motivation only to see it fade? Where have you given up because the feeling disappeared? Now I want you to imagine what your life will look like if you replace motivation with discipline. Imagine waking up every day committed to the work, committed to your growth, committed to showing up regardless of how you feel. Imagine building habits that compound over time. Imagine developing a mindset that cannot be swayed by temporary emotions. That is the power of discipline. That is how champions are made. That's how winners are created. Let me leave you with this. Discipline is a choice. Motivation is a feeling. You cannot control your feeling, but you can control your choices. You can choose to be disciplined every day, to put in the work, to stay committed, to improve, to grow, and to show up consistently. That choice will define your future. That choice will determine your success. That choice will separate you from the people who quit, the people who give up, and the people who fail. Discipline over motivation. Always. It's every time, without exception. So today, I want you to make a decision. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Stop waiting for inspiration to strike. Stop hoping that circumstances will be perfect. Make a commitment to discipline. Make a commitment to consistency. Make a commitment to showing up every day, doing the work, pushing through pain, facing challenges, and refusing to quit. That is how greatness is built. That is how dreams are achieved. That is how you win when most people fail. Discipline over motivation. Discipline over talent. Discipline over excuses. Discipline over fear. Discipline will carry you farther than motivation ever will. And I want you to remember this. Every time you rely on discipline, you grow stronger. Every time you choose discipline over motivation, you build resilience. Every time you stay committed despite discomfort, you move closer to your goals. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is permanent. Motivation will not always be there, but discipline will. Motivation will fade, but discipline will carry you through the darkest moments, the hardest challenges, and the longest nights. And that is why discipline is the key to success. That is why discipline is what separates the winners from the rest. Listen to me very carefully, because it's something too many people fear and run away from. Failure is not the enemy. It is your teacher. I want you to understand that failure is not something to be ashamed of. Failure is not something to avoid at all costs. Failure is not the end of the road. Failure is the beginning. Failure is the classroom. Failure is the opportunity to learn, grow, and become stronger. Every single successful person you admire has faced failure. Every single person who has achieved greatness has fallen down multiple times, only to get back up and try again. The difference between those who succeed and those who quit is simple. They embrace failure instead of running from it. They learn from it instead of letting it defeat them. I know some of you are afraid to fail. You are afraid to take risks. You are afraid to step outside your comfort zone. You are afraid to try because you might make a mistake. You might embarrass yourself. You might lose. Let me tell you something. That fear is natural, but it is deadly. That fear will hold you back from achieving greatness. That fear will keep you small. That fear will stop you from living up to your potential. You have to make a decision today to change your relationship with failure. You have to stop seeing it as the enemy and start seeing it as a necessary part of the journey. Failure is a stepping stone. Failure is the training ground for success. Failure is the fire that forges champions. Think about every great achiever in history. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before he invented the light bulb. He didn't see those failures as defeat. He saw them as lessons, as experiments, as steps towards success. Michael Jordan missed countless shots, lost games, and faced rejection. But he didn't quit. He embraced failure and used it to fuel his improvement. J.K. Rowling faced rejection from dozens of publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the company he co-founded, but he didn't give up. He learned, he adapted, and he came back stronger than ever. The common thread in all these stories is clear. Failure was not the end, it was the fuel. Failure was the catalyst for greatness. Let me make this very practical for you. Most people want success without failure. Most people want the glory without the struggle. Most people want the reward without the risk. And that is why most people never reach their potential. They play it safe. They stay comfortable. They avoid challenges. But life does not reward comfort. Life does not reward playing it safe. Life rewards those who take risks, who push themselves, who face challenges head on, who are willing to fail in order to grow. If you want to achieve greatness, you have to embrace failure. You have to get comfortable with falling down. You have to learn to get back up stronger every time. Failure is also a great teacher because it shows you what doesn't work. It shows you what needs improvement. It shows you where you need to focus your energy. Every mistake, every setback, every loss is an opportunity to analyze, learn, and adjust. If you are willing to listen, failure will guide you towards success. It will show you the path. It will highlight the areas where you need to grow. And if you ignore it, if you fear it, if you run from it, you will never reach your full potential. Embracing failure means using it as a tool, as a guide, as a step forward. I want you to understand something very important. Failure is not personal. Failure is not a reflection of your work. Failure is not a statement about who you are. Failure is a part of the process. It is a signal that you are trying, that you are taking action, that you are moving forward. The people who never fail are usually people who never try. The people who never take risks. The people who never step outside their comfort zone. And that is not you. You are not here to play it safe. You are here to ride, to grow, to achieve, and to embrace failure as part of your journey. Let me give you another truth. Failure builds resilience. When you fall down, when you face setbacks, when things don't go your way, you have a choice. You can let it defeat you, or you can let it strengthen you. You can quit, or you can get back up. Every time you embrace failure, every time you face it head on, you are building mental toughness, determination, and grit. You are creating the mindset of a winner. You are developing the strength to handle whatever life throws at you. And that is why failure is not just inevitable. It is necessary. You cannot achieve greatness without it. I know some of you are thinking, oh, but I can't fail. I can't afford to make mistakes. Let me tell you something. You can't afford not to fail. Failure is where growth happens. Failure is where learning happens. Failure is where strength is built. Every failure is an investment in your future success. Every setback is an opportunity to adjust, improve, and get closer to your goals. The people who succeed are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who persist, learn, and grow despite failure. They embrace it, they study it, they leverage it, and they use it as fuel to keep going. I want you to take a moment and reflect on your own life. How many times have you avoided trying because you were afraid to fail? How many opportunities have you missed because you were scared of making a mistake? How many times have you settled for less because failure seemed too painful? I want you to understand something crucial. Every time you avoid failure, you are avoiding growth. Every time you fear failure, you are limiting your potential. Every time you run from setbacks, you are choosing comfort over greatness. And if you want to achieve extraordinary results, you have to change that mindset. You have to embrace failure as a friend, as a teacher, as a stepping stone. Think about every great entrepreneur, every world-class athlete, every legendary artist. None of them achieved greatness without failing. None of them became extraordinary without facing setbacks, losses, rejection, or mistakes. Common denominator is this: they learned from failure. They embraced it. They didn't let it stop them. They didn't let it define them. They used it as fuel to keep going. And that is exactly what you need to do. Failure is not a curse. It is a blessing in disguise. Failure is the key to unlocking your full potential. I also want you to understand that failure forces action. When things go wrong, when you face setbacks, you are forced to reassess, adjust, and take new action. Failure pushes you out of your comfort zone. Failure challenges you to grow. Failure demands that you improve. If you embrace it, you will never stop evolving. If you fear it, you will remain stagnant. And the world does not reward stagnation. It rewards progress, courage, and the willingness to take risks. Let me leave you with this. Every time you fail, every time you stumble, every time you fall short of your goals, you are being prepared for something greater. Every failure is a lesson in resilience, a lesson in patience, a lesson in strength. Every failure is shaping you into the person capable of handling success. And when you finally achieve your goals, when you finally reach the pinnacle of your dreams, you will look back and realize that failure was not the enemy. It was the greatest gift you could have received. It taught you, strengthened you, and prepared you for greatness. So I want you to make a decision today. Stop fearing failure. Stop avoiding it. Stop letting the fear of making mistakes hold you back. Embrace failure. Learn from it. Grow from it. Use it as fuel to push harder, to try again, to improve every day. Every successful person you admire has walked this path. Every champion, every innovator, every leader has failed countless times, and they succeeded because they refused to let failure defeat them. They embraced it, they learned from it, and they kept moving forward. Failure is not the end. Failure is the beginning. Failure is the doorway to success. Failure is the teacher that will prepare you for your greatness. Do not run from it. Do not fear it. Do not hide from it. Embrace it. Learn from it, grow from it, and use it as the fuel that propels you toward the light, the success, and the impact you are destined to achieve. Failure is not your enemy. It is your ally. Your greatest lessons, your greatest breakthroughs, and your greatest victories will come from embracing failure. When life throws obstacles in your path, it is easy to see them as signs at the top, as proof that you're not meant to keep going. But here's the truth. Those obstacles are not there to break you. They are there to build you. Every great success story has a chapter of struggle, and it's those struggles that shape the person who eventually wins. You cannot become great without facing difficulty. You cannot become strong without resistance. Just like a muscle only grows when you put it under pressure, your character, your spirit, your resilience only grows when you face challenges head on. If you try to run away from every obstacle, if you avoid discomfort, if you look for shortcuts, you rob yourself of the opportunity to become the person you need to be to handle the success you are chasing. Obstacles are the training ground. They are the fire that forges your strength. They are the storms that prepare you to stand tall when others crumble. Think about it. Every hero you ever admired had to go through adversity before they became a hero. They faced moments when it would have been easier to quit. They faced criticism, doubt, rejection, and failure, but they didn't let any of it stop them. They saw every obstacle as a lesson, as an opportunity to grow, and they kept going until they overcame. And that's exactly what you have to do. When you encounter obstacles, the first thing you need to do is change how you see them. Don't see them as roadblocks. See them as signposts that you are on the right path. Nobody faces obstacles standing still. People only face them when they are moving forward. If you are being challenged, it's because you are going somewhere worth going. So instead of complaining about what's in your way, be grateful that you have a reason to fight. Be grateful that you have an opportunity to prove to yourself what you're really made of. Yes, it will be painful. Yes, it will be frustrating. Sometimes you will cry. Sometimes you will question yourself. Sometimes you will feel like you don't have anything left to give. But I need you to understand that those moments are when growth happens. Growth doesn't happen when it's easy. Growth doesn't happen when everything goes according to plan. Growth happens when you are pushed beyond what you thought was your limit. When you are forced to dig deeper, when you find strength you didn't even know you had. And here's the thing, every time you overcome one obstacle, you become more capable of overcoming the next one. You build momentum, you build confidence, you build grit. That's why you can't avoid challenges. If you avoid them, you stay the same. You stay weak, you stay untested, and you stay stuck. You will never know how strong you are until strength is your only option. And you will never know how capable you are until you face something that seems impossible and push through anyway. Obstacles also reveal who is really committed. Anyone can talk about what they want when it's easy. Anyone can say they have big goals when nothing is in their way. But when obstacles show up, that's when we separate the talkers from the doers. If you give up the moment it gets hard, you never really wanted it. But if you keep fighting, if you keep pushing, if you keep clawing your way forward, despite the pain, then you prove to yourself and to the world that you're serious about your dreams. You have to decide right now that no obstacle is going to stop you. You have to make up your mind that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you will get back up. You have to commit to seeing every obstacle as a challenge to be met, not as a reason to quit. When you think about people who have achieved incredible things, you'll notice that they face obstacles that would have crushed most people. But they made a decision. This will not break me. This will not defeat me. This will not stop me. That mind stopped me. That mindset is the key to victory. Sometimes the biggest obstacle is not outside of you. It's inside of you. Your fear, your doubt, your insecurity, your excuses. Those are often bigger barriers than anything in the world. You have to learn to conquer yourself first. You have to get control of your mind, because your mind will try to talk you out of doing what's necessary. Your mind will try to convince you to stay comfortable, to play it safe, to give up when it hurts. But you cannot listen to that voice. You have to develop a stronger voice that says, I can handle this. I will not stop. I will overcome this. Remember, overcoming obstacles is not just about reaching the goal. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle the goal once you reach it. If you want to be successful, you have to be able to handle pressure. You have to be able to stay focused when things go wrong. You have to be able to lead yourself through chaos. And the only way to build those skills is by going through tough times and refusing to quit. Every obstacle you face is shaping you for the future. That failed attempt is teaching you how to approach it differently next time. That rejection is teaching you resilience. That setback is building patience. That delay is developing your character. When you change your perspective and see obstacles as tools for growth, you stop resenting them and start respecting them. You start to understand that the very things you thought were holding you back were actually pushing you forward. And when you finally overcome that obstacle, the victory is sweeter because you had to fight for it. There's nothing like winning after everyone counting you out. There's nothing like achieving something that at one point seemed impossible. It gives you a confidence that can't be shaken because you know you've been tested. You know you've been through the fire and survived. So stop running from your obstacles. Stop wishing they would go away. Face them, attack them, push through them. Because on the other side of that obstacle is the life you've been dreaming about. On the other side of that obstacle is the version of you that you've been working to become. On the other side of that obstacle is your breakthrough, your success, your win. You are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you realize. And you have everything you need to overcome whatever is in your way. Don't wait for someone to save you. Don't wait for someone to clear the path for you. You clear the path. You make the way. You climb the mountain. You break through the wall. You overcome the obstacle. Because the truth is, it's not over until you win. And as long as you are breathing, as long as you are willing to fight, as long as you refuse to quit, you can win. It doesn't matter how big the obstacle is because you are bigger. It doesn't matter how tough the challenge is because you are tougher. It doesn't matter how many times you fail because this time could be the one. So get up, get moving, get back in the fight. Every obstacle in your way is a chance to prove to yourself just how bad you want it. And if you keep showing up, keep working, keep believing, there is nothing, no obstacle, no setback, no failure that can stop you from winning in the end. Victory is possible. That's not just a nice phrase to put on a poster. That is the truth. The very fact that you are here, the very fact that you are still breathing means there is still time, there's still opportunity, there is still a way forward. No matter how dark it looks, No matter how many times you have failed, no matter how far behind you feel, victory is still possible. But here's the thing, you have to believe it before you see it. You have to have faith before the evidence shows up. Because if you don't believe it's possible, you will stop fighting for it. If you convince yourself that you can't win, you've already lost before the battle even begins. Victory is possible, but it isn't guaranteed. It takes work. It takes discipline. It takes consistency. You cannot just wish for victory. You have to prepare for it. You have to pursue it. You have to demand it with your action. You cannot simply hope to win and then sit back waiting for things to fall into place. You have to be willing to give everything you've got, day after day, until you see the results you've been dreaming of. This is where most people fall short. They want victory, but they don't want the sacrifice. They want the reward, but they don't want the grind. They want the destination, but they don't want the journey. But victory doesn't come cheap. You have to pay for it in sweat, in effort, in sleepless nights, in the willingness to keep showing up even when no one is watching, even when no one is clapping, even when no one is encouraging you. Victory is possible if you refuse to give up. You might have been knocked down 10 times, 100 times, but as long as you get back up one more time, you still have a chance to win. The game is not over until you decide it's over. Life will try to convince you that you've run out of chances, that it's too late, that you've made too many mistakes. But as long as you are breathing, there's still time to turn it around. You have to stop measuring yourself by your past failures and start measuring yourself by your potential. The person you were yesterday is gone. The person you can become tomorrow is still being created right now, in this very moment, with every decision you make. If you decide today that you will fight, that you will grow, that you will refuse to quit, then victory is still possible. Sometimes victory doesn't look like what you thought it would. Sometimes you go after something. The road twists and turns. What you find at the end is different from what you imagined at the start, but it's still a win because you became someone stronger, wiser, and more capable along the way. You see, victory is not just about getting the trophy, it's about becoming the person who earned it. Victory is about developing the discipline, the focus, the courage, and the heart to fight for what matters to you. Victory is possible, but it's not instant. It takes time. Seeds take time to grow. Dreams take time to manifest. You have to be patient enough to keep going. You don't see progress right away. You have to be mature enough to keep watering the seed, even when it seems like nothing is happening. Too many people give up too soon. They quit just before the breakthrough comes. They walk away from the race just before they cross the finish line. But that's not going to be you. You're going to keep pushing until the last second. You're going to keep grinding until the door opens. You're going to keep believing until the promise becomes a reality. Because victory is not for the fastest, not for the smartest, not for the most talented. It's for the ones who refuse to stop. You have to speak victory even when you don't feel it. You have to wake up in the morning and tell yourself, I will win. You have to keep your mind focused on where you are going, not where you are stuck, because your thoughts are powerful. If you let negativity take over, if you let doubt control your mind, you will sabotage yourself. But if you keep speaking faith, keep speaking power, keep speaking possibility, you will find the strength to keep moving forward until you get what you've been working for. Victory is possible, but it requires you to take responsibility. You can't keep blaming others, blaming circumstances, blaming bad luck. You have to own your choices, own your effort, own your attitude. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you do control how you respond. And if you respond with strength, with persistence, with faith, nothing can keep you from your win. You must also surround yourself with people who believe in victory. If you spend time around people who have already given up, people who are comfortable losing, people who settle for less, it will be harder for you to stay motivated. You need to be around fighters, around people who push you to keep going, around people who remind you that the story isn't over. And don't forget to celebrate small victories along the way. Every step forward is proof that you are capable. Every milestone is a sign that you're closer than you were yesterday. Too many people wait until the very end to celebrate, but you have to keep yourself encouraged while you're on the journey. Celebrate the progress, then keep moving. Victory is possible even if you are the underdog. In fact, Most of the greatest victories in history have been won by underdogs. People who had less, people who were counted out, people who had every reason to quit but didn't. You don't need perfect conditions to win. You just need a perfect commitment to keep going until you do. You might not feel strong right now. You might feel tired, broken, defeated, but you are still here. That means you have something left. And as long as you have something left, you can fight one more round. You can take one more step. You can try one more time. That's all it takes. One more try, one more push, one more refusal to give up. When you finally win, when you finally cross that finish line, when you finally hold that dream in your hands, you will look back on all the pain, all the struggle, all the setbacks, and you will see that it was worth it. You will see that the process shaped you into someone unstoppable. You will see that all along, victory was possible. You just had to keep going long enough to see it. So I'm telling you right now, keep going, keep believing. Your victory's coming if you don't quit. It may not come when you expect it. It may not come how you expect it, but it will come if you refuse to give up. Because victory is not reserved for a special few. It's available to anyone who has the courage to keep going until they win. Victory is possible for you, not just for other people. Not just for the lucky ones, for you. So stop doubting yourself. Stop holding yourself back. Stop letting fear control you. Decide today that you will not stop until you get what you came for. Decide today that you will finish what you started. Decide today that you will win. Because as long as you keep fighting, as long as you keep believing, victory is not just possible, it's inevitable.